What did you think of the display?
Good on him. Yeah, all for it.
You support the cause?
Yeah, I do.
Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest!
I think that they've done something illegal, and if you want to push your point in the public sphere, then yes, you have the complete right to, but no, you should not do it illegally.
Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest!
Simon copped a lot of attention over there today.
Yes, it did draw a lot of attention to the plight of our southwest forests.
How many people got move-on notices?
There was just a small handful. I think only a couple of us actually received move-on notices.
Is anyone going to get arrested?
Well, the police did say that there was a possibility of disorderly conduct charges, but I find that hard to fathom. Considering all of the bare bums you see on advertising billboards all around the city.
I didn't see too many people get upset.
Well, look, I think people were quite elated, quite chuffed about the whole action. I think it's a quiet, friendly way to sort of really get our message out that the bottom line really sucks, that the FBC is losing nearly $10 million every single year logging our forests. Sadly, the forests are in a state of total disarray and chaos at the moment. At the moment, we're currently having about 20 AFL-sized football fields being logged every single day at a loss of about up to $500,000 a week to the taxpayer. We want to turn that forest management plan on its head. Basically, it's a decision to destroy our forest till 2023, and we're going to work our hardest to turn that decision on its head. We've been doing work with Sea Shepherd and other organisations, and doing all sorts of work for the environment. All our causes are intrinsically linked. The first blockades that started in '94, we managed to save Sharp Forest, Jane Forest. We managed to save all our old growth forest towards the end of the 90s, over 300,000 hectares of forest. So I think it's the huge success we've had as West Australians saving our unique ecosystems. When they get out there and they clear fell our forests, you might have an area of 10 acres with not a tree, not a blade of grass, not an ant, nothing alive. So they pretty much just strip everything. We know that a forest can store I think about 5,000 tonnes of carbon per hectare, which obviously can be released in the whole logging process. So it's imperative for our forests that we keep them intact to preserve these natural carbon sinks. Logging has a huge impact on our rainfall, on the temperature of soil. The canopy keeps the sun off the soil from being down and evaporating the water. So there's a huge link. We've seen from the start of the 70s, since the start of industrial logging, a huge decrease in rainfall over our southwest, and I feel that can be attributed to our logging. Saturday the 19th we'll be meeting and we'll be telling the Premier and the FBC exactly what we think of their logging regime.
Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest! Stop stripping the Southwest Forest!
How are you? What did you think of that display?
We don't get involved in political things or anything, but they feel pretty strongly about it, obviously.
Tell us about the leaflets you got there.
For the Last Stand Forest rally coming up. Forrest Place right here.
There's not many trees here.
No, that's it.
I reckon it's mighty fine, yeah?
So, trying to protect the forest, right? Aboriginal Church.
Yeah. There you go.
Patrick, quite a successful day today.
Very, very pleased, John, with the outcomes that we've had.
You look a bit differently dressed to some of the other people who were here earlier.
They were a little bare, and that was to highlight the bottom line. You know, the Forest Products Commission's bottom line is that they're losing $9.5 million a year, and with that money, they're cutting down our forests, or not our forests, but the forests of the Western Australia.
So stripping the forest, you'd say?
They're stripping the forest. It's really reached the stage where what is happening is now really salvage. It's no longer an industrial logging system. It's really a salvage operation. The waste coming out of the forest has now become the product.
Yeah.
And so next Saturday, that is Saturday the 19th of October, we'll be meeting here at Forrest Place to tell the people of Western Australia what is wrong with the proposed 10-year logging plan that's being brought in by the government. And to highlight that plan, we have called together a really interesting group of people, and I believe that people will understand, get a good education if they come along to the rally, which is at 12 o'clock on the 19th of October in Forrest Place.
The way we treat our forests, when you think about Aboriginal culture, and of course the forest and the environment are a little bit like a church to Aboriginal people.
Absolutely.
Aborigines harvested from the forest. We harvest the forest.
Yes, it's very strange because there's no other product that we take from the forest at this industrial level. You know, you don't get your food from the forest, you grow it in market gardens. You don't get your bananas from a forest, you grow them in a plantation. South Australia has no forests to log, but they've got a bigger timber industry than we have because they planted a lot of pine and Tasmanian blue gum, and their industry is far bigger than Western Australia's, which is surprising to people.
Peter Lane used to talk about the forest being a public asset that private industry makes money from.
Absolutely.
The forest balance sheet is ours, and the profit and loss statement, well, we cop the loss and somebody makes a profit.
We lose, they win, and the forest loses. The amount of forest that they intend to log is between 1,500 square kilometres and 2,000 square kilometres. Now, John, to put that in perspective, if you think a forest 1 kilometre wide from here to Broome is the sort of amount of forest that's to be taken down. You'd be driving through that, if there's a road through that forest, for 15 hours at 100 kilometres an hour. Imagine the number of animals, birds, plants that are going to be destroyed over that 10-year period in the name of what? And we are paying to do that?
A lot of carbon there. Tony Abbott's talking about direct action. Do you think his idea of direct action might include nurturing the forest rather than destroying it?
You would hope so. And that's what we want to do. We want to have the forests preserved, and their ability to store and sequester carbon should be what they're there for. And we can actually make money out of that. Instead of paying to have them cut down, we can keep them and we can actually make money. So it's pretty much a no-brainer.
If you're reducing the canopy in the forest, the earth underneath it gets warmer. Probably a contributing factor to dieback.
It's very hard to know what the effect on climate change has been and will be. But there's a fair bit of research going on at the moment here in Western Australia related to two things. One is the reduction of cover with the forests, and the second is the enormous destruction that took place in the wheat belt, the eastern wheat belt, where in 1966 I associated with a group of soil scientists, Dr. Paddy Pottinger, Dr. Michael Dilworth, Clive Malcolm and Frank Roberts. And these people said, this land will turn to salt in our lifetime. And they were trying to warn the Court government at that time, that's Charles Court, not Richard, and they were ignored. And the destruction took place. Now that destruction has, we believe, affected climate in Western Australia. And I don't think there's much doubt that that's the case.
And if that is the case, it would make sense, say, that the inner wheat belt farmers were at the rally next Saturday?
Make a lot of sense. Many years ago, 1966 about, I was going along Rose Street over here in close to the city, and there was a scrap metal yard, and the scrap metal yard had a big gate on it, and the words across the gate, graffitied, were, "There was once a land of laughing trees." And you know, that rings with me all the time. What have we done since settlement that has brought this about? The land of laughing trees is no more. We have destroyed so much. It's time we turned around and looked to a heritage that we received when Europeans arrived here, and try to at least keep what we have as a heritage to the next generation. That's why we've called our organisation Forest Legacy.
When the old growth forest was protected, that was an amazing step forward in the state. To some degree, looking back on it now, what that protection has done has put more pressure on the forest that's already been degraded.
Yes, it has. There's no question about it.
And the protection of the old growth forest really only made sense as a transitionary process to far less or no logging at all.
That's right. And we're uncompromising on that. We believe that there should be no logging. Certainly not for a long time. There will be timber come out of the forests, unfortunately, because people like Alcoa are clearing forest every year to take out the bauxite and trying their best to restore it after they've finished. So there will be timber coming out. It's not as though fine furniture won't be made out of Jarrah, but that area that is under the control of Forest Products Commission, there's 8,500 square kilometres of forest that should now be protected, and the movement into plantations for the good of the people of Western Australia, and more importantly for the animals, the birds and the plants that live in those forests.
One last plug for the rally next week.
Yes, so it's next Saturday, the 19th of October, Forrest Place at midday, and there'll be some excellent entertainment, speeches and some visuals on 2 large LED screens for the public to be learning about what the problems are in our southwest native forests.
Southwest forest!